So, what do you want to record order? For some Carl, I the second one broadcast. Yeah, 2 bowls. There's one question. I'm sure it'll come up.
All right, test. Okay, now we got something going on. So,
Oh no, it's so much fun. I'm not
volume fix a little bit so we're not blowing everybody out over here. All right, so something a little bit different today. It kind of came up a little bit last minute as they were working out kind of the details and wanted to pop in tonight and asked if they could shoot some 14-1s. We don't get to see that very often. I think we've only had it one time before on the live stream. But thanks everyone for joining us to be able to stop in and check it out. Got Mr. Jesse Deltoro and Brian Kriger that's come up. Brian's actually the one that played last time against Karl Marx. Jesse said back then that he wanted to step in here sometime and give it a shot. So here we are. So this is one of those games that I would not call my specialty. So we'll do our best to kind of get through this one together and see how we end up. So there's plenty of people out there that know this game much more than I do. I think I've played it once and watched it about a handful of times. And David Trexler, so this is pretty small. This one's more friendly, and if I remember correctly, I think I heard something around the $50 mark per player. So they're basically just kind of shooting this one around as a friendly thing. We don't get a whole lot of well, we don't get a lot of one pocket either, but one pocket or straight pull. It's kind of doing us a bit of a favor and kind of checking to see how many other people might actually like to try this one out up here. See Cole mentioning him and Lance coming out. I've actually been on tap teams with both of these guys at one point in time. As a matter of fact, Jesse and I had been on a few different teams, including some of the ones that's gone to like the Nationals and all that. Really good shot there. And Brian met just a few years back. And getting some good breakouts here. And the table's starting to open up pretty nicely for him. kind of curious. Many times I've played on different teams and all that with Jesse. I've never actually seen him play straight pool before, so we'll see see how he does on this one. Hell of a shot maker though. I think some of the most ridiculous shots you'll ever see. Johnny Rios, yes, raced 150, and I was joking around with him a few minutes ago. They must decided this is the championship round. So typically speaking, straight pool is races to 125, and then if you're doing like a championship, they'll bump it up to 150. So they're going all the way. Wish I could tell you even like how long a race like this would take. But that obviously depends on the players. You can watch pros. They can go from one ball in the right place to just blowing everything out and making quick work out of it, to a safety battle that a single rack could take an extended period of time. Brian doing a nice job of getting to this table. Actually looks like he's playing a little bit of one pocket over here. He has found his favorite over there on the right hand side. Leaves that 2 ball. There's breakout on the next one. Anybody that's not too sure or hasn't played 14-1 or straight pool, those two names kind of go a little synonymous with each other. The whole idea behind it is you'll start with a full rack like they did on the very first one. They'll leave the last of it, the very last ball, and assuming that they can spot it up and it looks like it's going to get close but not quite touch that 2 ball, as long as that 2 ball is back there, the very last ball that's remaining stays outside of the rack. As you can see, that's the where the head ball is. So this one being behind the rack will make it a little bit tougher. You would, typically speaking, you'll see more people want to kind of leave one beside the rack so they can make a shot over there and kind of blow it out. This one's okay because the cue ball is back there as well. It's going to skate off the back of it a little bit. Not able to make the shot on that one. Got a pretty good go ahead, and actually let me turn the score on over here. Really slacking right now. Should be able to keep up with the score down here at the bottom. So you see Brian goes off to a big lead at 14-2. So in this kind of game, obviously the big deal here is that you've got to oh, that can't be right. All right. Remove one more somewhere. He's got it at 13-2 right now. 12-2. That sounds correct. All right. So if you're not able to pocket a ball, you're not reasonably confident on pocketing a ball, and it does need to be a called shot, not just slam through the middle and hope something goes in. Then good time to find a defense. If it's not, leave your opponent an easy shot. It potentially, with the right player, could be Rex before you get back to the table. See this one slowly but surely starting to open up a bit. This game will both test your shot making ability as well as your knowledge of being able to play a defense. So kind of an all-in-one type of thing. You get better at this game, and typically you're better at every game. Guess he'll pick up a few points here, and then even has that 6 ball help him get back down and split that rack open a bit. You get that 14 right now. You could actually take the 9 ball right now and get part of it open up. Shoots that one for the corner, and fortunately that one doesn't go in, so he'll go and mark out the points that he got on that. Brian will come back to the table with an open 7 ball, or 6, however he wants to play it. Couple more easy points and 3 ball down table. We'll start heading towards the rack. Well, I don't know if he'll hit it hard enough to really blast through it. Ends up a little short on that one. He was aiming for 13 back here in the back. Well, wants that cue ball to be careful. One thing that's a little different whenever it comes to straight pull is now he's actually going to lose a point because of that scratch, even though something else didn't go in. I'll mark out the ones that he did get. That 3 would have fallen. And that would have also come back up. Taking a good look down at that right that's left, sets it up so he can try to kick that one off the edge of that ball and hopefully to the middle of the pack. Comes below it. Like you might have even caught a little touch of draw on that one. Trims that back ball a little bit, sets it behind that pack. Other than possibly leaving a combo, I think Jesse's going to have an easy shot here. Going to go for that shot. Then we'll better make it, because now it's an open table for Brian to come back.
Oh, it is.
That's a good try there. They have left the last 4 for Jesse to take care of. A little close to his work on that 5 ball, but luckily for him, he has a 1 ball all the way up table to help get him out of it. All the way back down. Easy shot on that 5 ball. Let's see if it looks like that 4 ball is actually sitting where the rack would touch it, and that's kind of the oddity. So where the balls would be sitting whenever it's racked back up, kind of one thing. That might not be where anything that would touch that 4 ball, but because the rack's got to be there, if the rack would be somewhere that would touch that 4 ball, if it's left on the table, that means that 4 ball has to go in the rack. So you'd be shooting against a regular 15 ball full rack. You don't get that extra ball kind of sitting out on the side to help everything break out. Some people know a particular shot where you hit the first ball in from the back and be able to bank it into the side pocket. But still, you're taking a chance on a couple of balls coming out and leaving it pretty open. He's decided he's going to leave that 8 ball. Came up a little high on him, but that 8 ball may be makeable. It doesn't really leave him an easy way to break into the rack. So we'll probably see him just start off with a defense first shot here. See how Jesse decides to play this one, if he's going to go ahead and get straight into it with the 8 ball back up table and the cue ball back on that back rail. Doing that score up real quick.
Oh, I see.
Heath, yes it is. 150, and it's 150 racks. Yeah, it's actually 150 points whenever they're doing 14-1. So 150 balls made, minus a few fouls or things like that. But so it's not as long as it sounds. It could be a pretty exhausting game though, even going to 150. Again, if you weren't on whenever we first started up, it's 125 is a little bit more standard, but we're pool players. We don't stick to standard. 150 is usually total points for a championship round. Brian trying to take a pretty significant cut there, and probably didn't like the option of the defense that he had from that position. Taking a quick count and seeing what he needs to add up there in the background. 20 to 12s, which it's not a bad lead, but that can be caught up pretty quick. So no, you got to be pretty far out before you get to feeling safe. And Victoria, yes, race to 150. We got to get you and Heath to tune in a little bit earlier. So we figure this should take them until about Saturday. So make sure you follow all the way through. If these guys are willing to play it, then you should be willing to watch it. And it's 150 balls. See, now you're going to donate stars, and I feel bad about talking about you. Way to pull that one off. So yes, this is I mean, since they're playing straight pull on this one, it is actually just a ball count. So 150 balls made, give or take a few fouls that might subtract a ball here and there. You can see the score going up pretty quick as they go through. I mentioned Victoria and Heath. I know both of y'all have both seen and have had the wrath of Jesse Deltoro's shot making ability before, so you know him making 150 balls. That's about at times seems about 15 minutes worth. Even though he'll tell you every single time he got lucky. He went to the Efren Reyes School of Full Etiquette. Running this one out without too much trouble. Looks like he wants to leave that 9 ball, so he'll want to get that cue ball up a little bit. Comes up a little short on that one. Now he's forcing Brian to take the 9 ball. By taking the 9 ball, now Brian has to do a little bit of work because he's going to be leaving the 11 ball on the table. That 11 ball will be used to try to break the rack out. He has to be careful where that cue ball ends up because wherever it stops after this 9 ball is made, unless it gets in that rack. So if that cue ball was to roll up a little further, if we look at the other view here, the rack there, we'll see a defense more than likely on this shot. Alright, so excellent job there. So pushes that cue ball into the top of the rack. Doesn't exactly leave Jesse with a whole lot. Because it is, if we look from the top here, one open. Now Brian can actually use that rail to help him get back into that pile, or just straight across for the 7 ball. We'll get kind of the same shot here. A little top English. Misses the 7, does leave it in the back of the pack. Let's see how Jesse decides to play this one coming back out. He does have a defense with that 12 ball that we see over on the left hand side of the rack there. 7 ball all the way up. The problem with that 7 ball is that shot's going to be a little difficult. Whoever cuts that one a bit, maybe not a bad miss there. Ryan tries to get a little action on that one. You'll see that score on his side decrease by 1. Jesse will be taking this one behind the headstring, as you see here. Ball's down table. He does, if we look at the top view here. Two of those out up here. Catch that one and the 7 ball. Probably be playing a defense. That one gets a little wild on him. He's up there at the top, so if he'll try for this one or not. Has to go ahead and try it. Get to the back of the pack. Position off of the, after that 3 ball, get on the 6, and ooh, pretty firm at the 3 ball, and not want that to scratch. Brian coming back to the table with a little bit of opportunity. Ooh, catches the far point. Bearing that cue ball into the pack, not leaving Brian with a whole lot to come back to. I'm just going to play a defense back. Wanted that to go a little further back in that 15 to come a little further up, as he has obviously left Jesse a shot now. Guess he'll play that nice and soft, and like he's right in line with that 3 ball. TJ actually did not know that it was doing that, so I need to check and see what's going on with the volume on that top view. Head here in just a couple moments. Thank you for pointing that out. You're playing a good defense there. If we can go and look up table. Looks like that 8 ball would actually squeeze through if he wanted to just sort of bury it on the back of it. He is actually trying for a shot. It looks like he just called for that 4 ball up here in the bottom right corner. If we look at it here, sticks that cue ball on the back, so a nice job there. Jesse with a super thin cut on that one. A little bit too thin, as it does make a good hit. Goes back around and barely moves that 4 ball. Good try though. Take a look at this. After he shoots this one, we'll look at that overhead view. And right now, test. It looks like it's still working on my side. Let me know if you can hear me right now. Put some back down so we can see the shot on that 8 ball. Catches the point on the way back. That's just a little bit of an unforced error there. Happens. Well, we're amateurs. We all still have to go to work next time. And apparently I do have one in here somewhere. Victoria, I see your comment down here, and we'll see. Really good try there. Overcuts it just a hair, leaves that 5 ball right on the corner. I have to see on the different selections here. That top view does use a different option because it takes away the scoreboard and all that, so we can see the screen a little bit better. But I'll start checking a little bit into what I've messed up over here when it comes to the audio. Guys are keeping this one a pretty close race for this turn, 26-26. Alright, so this one's gonna be a little tough. So whenever he racks this one back up, of course that head ball will be missing. You can see where the 8 ball is lined up for the top corner. Now your first thought is, if you haven't done this enough, I'd say, is shoot that 8 in, draw it back. Problem is, even if it was drawn back straight into it, you'd be surprised how little speed and momentum your cue ball has on a draw shot. You'd actually hit that rack and just die, and be lucky to even get a ball to make it the rail. So he may elect to go ahead and make that 8 ball, but that's going to be what the plans that following up is going to be a defense going back into that rack. You can see there that he really tried to power into it, and I mean you'd have to hit that so ridiculously hard, such an unbelievable stroke, even to get it to come back into that rack and get any movement out of it. Very good shot there. As you can see, like that one, he actually came off that back rail and into it. Much more speed out of it that way. So good job by Brian. A little bit of an opening down there. Jesse's new hairdo sneaking into the bottom of the screen down here. Let me go tell him, go back to the bald look. Doesn't block as much of our table.
I haven't ran more parts though. You have a
Guess he's got a lot of room to run here, and I think he's going to close that gap that we see, that 32-26. I believe he's going to close that gap up pretty significant here. And if there's a ball maker out there, he's at the table right now. Yep, I jinxed him. That's all me. You're welcome, Jesse. In case you're watching this later on. Four balls separates the two of them. That's a pretty narrow gap regardless. Point coming back out. One of the things that a lot of times they keep track of whenever it comes to playing 14-1 is like even on the screens or on the scoreboards is keeping up with the longest runs in between a miss, the number of fouls, different things like that. It's actually pretty insightful, like that somebody can come up and maybe you've got the player that's in the lead that only makes a maximum of 10 balls throughout the rack, and the one that's trailing could make 40 balls, you know, in between, which means they've gone through a couple of different racks, and um, it's kind of funny how you look at it and somebody can just sit there and pick them off, play defense, pick them off, play defense. There's not necessarily one style that actually works. It's more of a method. You know, if you can get up the table and close a gap, but you only get so many chances to do that if somebody really plays smart. So there's a whole lot going on in this game that that you kind of have to play it in order to be able to see all the different ways that you can win. Be able to play that against the different opponent. If you know that you've got one that's just a phenomenal shot maker, then you know, maybe it's better to play a few more defenses. Got somebody that you know can out defense you, then maybe it's time to come out and just shoot. A whole lot of different ways to kind of tackle this one, but again, no matter what, this is a game that will make you better. If we get you know, if there's a few people that want to come out and start playing, of course, whenever it comes to scoreboards, we kind of write those in house, which this one is no exception. So we'll improve on that and get some of the other the other kind of analytics behind it and all those different counts, and be able to display that. Kind of makes it tough to say that it's worth writing if we only have, you know, one set a year, two sets a year kind of thing, but always willing to improve if enough people are interested in it. Doing a good job here. That was a nice shot. And that 8 looks like it's going to be in the it's going to be really close. It is right at the edge of that line. So he's going to be holding that rack and telling it to think skinny. It's a 39-31. Brian holding on to that lead so far and doing a good job with it. So whenever we're playing like our different 8 and 9 ball leagues, typically speaking, this is going to hold a higher handicap than what Brian does. Brian's showing right here off the bat that means nothing in 14-1. That not all games are for all players, and that we look and see that 8 ball did go back up table. Not sure why he threw it up there. It will actually come back to the front of the rack.
Also, the plan.
Alright, so we had to stick our nose into the game, and the 8 ball was going to be touching the rack, so it actually goes into the 1 ball spot. That's a really good shot there by Brian. As you can see, that 6 ball came out away from the rack, went right back into it. It really hasn't left Jesse with a whole lot, so I'm going to go ahead and touch that 15 that we see on that back rail. Try to hide behind something, and that one's going to be close, but it looks like he might have actually got there. Looks like he's looking at it. Looks like he can make it. Not so hard to make the shot, or to make the breakout. The shot got a little tough, but Jesse's coming back jacked up over a whole lot of balls over there. Go ahead and look up table on that one. Guess he takes a really good opportunity trying to make that 9 ball over in the corner pocket, and fortunately that one doesn't go. Let's open up a little bit, but he's opened it up for Brian to come back to the table. Brian missing the shot up table. These are called shots too, so even if you miss one pocket and it goes in another, that's not good enough. Unless you can run it around the table and get it back in the same pocket by accident, it's the one that you called. Only time that works out. Keep finding that little opening for possibly that 11 ball. I think he'll take that one and save the 3 ball to help break some things back up. He got a little straight here, which is kind of unfortunate. A little more angle and he could have got it up a little higher on the 3 ball, but who cares? We're just going to send that up table anyway. No problem at all. He can actually go to the other side. 7, the 14, the 8, everything over there can become available after this shot. Gonna go ahead and go across. Tries to get a little bit of a breakout and got a little bit more separated. Six ball, no problem. Look at everything just starting to come apart. And now, if not before, it's time to decide which one it is that you want to leave on the table. Preferably where you'd like to leave the cue ball in the process. Checking out all the angles down there. Looks like he's now aiming up on the 1. Catches that top point again. And sneaking that one in. Rail first on the inside of that pocket. Or he wants to go ahead and get both this and the 3 ball out of there. Time to decide between the 7 or the 1 and leaving that on the table. Like he is lining up for that one to save that 7 ball. You have to be a little bit careful because now you want to make sure that you make it easy enough to make. This is the 1 ball. Probably wanted that cue ball out a little bit further, which is why he might have missed that 1 going up table anyway. We'll look here and see that he's done a good job of leaving. Flip that top view real quick, and just left a good job of leaving that 7 ball because as you can see, making that 7 ball, that cue ball glances off pretty much full force straight in the middle of that rack. If he makes that 7, he'll blow this thing pretty far open. No, absolutely nothing wrong with that. He left himself a few shots. There's a couple still tied up, but there's a whole lot of room for him to work around. Step away from the mic real quick because, well, my cup ran empty, and we'll be right back with you in a moment. Obviously, these guys are going to continue to play because they don't care about my drinking habits.
Oh, because I forgot. Well, I feel bad. It's like I don't know. No, I'm not like trying to.
Okay, I can understand.
All right, 49-49. They're definitely keeping this one really, really close. Good for the two of them. Checking this. Yeah, I think it's gonna be pretty close there on touching that rack. It's gonna touch. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, that one ball is gonna have to go back into the head spot. Might be a good time to play with those, like the little cheap plastic racks, but both the wood diamond rack that you see here, even the plastic one that's the newer version, is actually a little bit larger than what the wood one is. So both of those would have caused that one ball to go back in. Cue ball still stays exactly where you see it. But not a super easy break here. It's definitely gonna need to be defense. Has to be careful because he's probably gonna want that cue ball to end up on the back side of the rack. At the same time, gonna make sure that I decides to send it all the way back up table, and that's the problem with that one, is that 9 ball comes out of the rack and just sort of lays over a little bit. Big back cut there, and a good shot by Brian. Necessarily have a great makeable shot, but defense, he did call the side pocket, which is a little bit of a surprise. I wanted to marry that one into the back of the pack, which would have actually made it funny, because if he did make it, means that that 8 ball probably would have been behind the cue ball, locking everything inside. It does happen every once in a while. Jesse trying to send that cue ball up table, leaving Brian an open shot on that 8 ball. Of course, as you can see, even if he makes the 8, not going to be able to come down with quite the force that would need to kind of break anything out. So that next shot's kind of already planned, and ends up missing it. See how he comes out. Yes, he does have a shot on the 8 ball. Bad thing about this one is all side pockets are typically bigger than what the corner pockets are, but by the time you put it in at that angle, he's going to want to put that in with a little bit of speed, and might have to go to plan B. Catches the side of it, does get one ball to come out, but doesn't get a shot on that one. Probably see him just kind of trim the, if he can get to it, trim the edge of the 14, and actually if we look overhead, I don't even think he can get to that, so sends that cue ball up table and goes for distance. River cuts that 14 a little bit, leaves it in a nice safe little spot. Making an attempt at a defense, catches that one a little bit solid. That 12 ball ups out and gets right in the game. Gives Brown with an opportunity to do some damage here, and 3 balls go in. We can definitely register that one as successful. Ooh, kind of flubs the next one a bit. That was his run to get a few more out, but definitely still not a bad run there as he extends that lead a little bit on this wreck as he's the only one that's made any balls. Taking a little look around the table, and we can expect that 11 ball to be next. He's just looking around for what's going to follow that one up. That 12 ball sitting right by the spot there. Definitely going to want to get that one out. Probably even that 14 that we see up table decision, which I think is getting ready to be made now, is whether or not to leave the 4 ball or the 7 ball. Now that the 4 ball is gone, I believe that 7 ball is going to be the one that he wants to actually leave on the table for the new rack to come up. Go ahead and shoot this one, try to bounce that one out a little bit. It's hit a little straighter than he wanted, but that's okay. Let's have a clean shot on the 7 and rack afterwards. Guess he'll put up a few points of his own here. 58-53, still a very close game. Jesse making a good shot on the 7 and a really good attempt to try to split some of these out. Doesn't come out, or some of the balls came out, which was great. Cue ball just catches the wrong side a little bit and buries itself into the back. Want to trim one of these, see if he can't put the cue ball about mid-table across the bottom rail. Super close to it. Drifts out a little bit, so he's got a 3-ball shot, but that's a long distance up to the top of that table. Cuts that one a bit. Guess he's got a shot. Anything but a scratch on that one's a good shot as it came awfully close. Still makeable there, but anybody that shoots those rail with everything touching knows there's nothing easy about that. So great shot by him. Like he's fortunately lined himself up for a combo. Makeable. About as makeable as any fun combo that's out there. Whoever cuts it just a hair. Brian with a little bit of a tester. Shoot at that 11, but that's a very missable ball. Just like that, I can promise you I could do the same. Good chance Jesse's gonna be lining up for another combo for that side pocket. Oh, and almost a perfect shot there, but just happens to come off the edge of that one, leaving Brian with an open shot on that one ball. Swinging away and trying to make contact, and I don't know that he has an open shot. Defense time again. Ends that one by. I was 100% wrong. Now, if we look, if we can find a better view here. That does go. Touches the edge of the 15, kind of rejects that one back out. Jesse comes back to the table with an open 2-ball shot. Jesse doing some damage here. I'm sure he's already picked out the one that he wants to leave on the table. That 14 ball looks like a good option. All of a sudden he's got a second option. 6 ball is not too bad either. Maybe lining up for that one now. Choice is all his when he wants to leave, and if you get that cue ball back to where it is, 14 would be nice. Not comfortable with that. 6 balls next. Doesn't want it too straight. It's a little straighter than he'd like to be, but Jesse takes the lead. As you can see him marking out the score there in the background. 65-60, Jesse.
That many times in a row. Yeah, that's like. So that's. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
It looks like these two guys are going to take a quick break. About the 75-point mark is obviously our halfway, so they're going to take a quick break. Should be back within about probably less than 5 minutes or so. So hopefully you guys will hang out with us. Be back shortly.
Oh, Yoda. Yeah, that was a very good analogy. Baby Yoda. Yeah, that was a good analogy. actually. Oh, no, she really wanted to come, but having a nap also. Commentating.
I said Jesse pulling away a little ways and 79.62 at the beginning of this run. Be good right now. And Jesse's getting into his groove a little bit. Creating a little bit of space between some of these. A couple of different options. I'm sure he'd love for that 6 ball, but the way he just tied that one up, that's awfully close. That 6 will go. I had to go ahead and shoot up table. Little bit better angle on that. Gonna be looking at that 4 ball. Good idea there is he helped himself out with that 3 and 8 that we see a issue with over here and doesn't quite catch it. Got another shot at it here. That bump that he wanted a little higher up, and I think that 8 might be makeable, but he could go up table for this one. Good shot there. Doesn't want to tie those two up. 6 ball looks any better from that angle, and about the same. Little smirk on Jesse Deltoro's face over here. He knows it's close. Nails that with no problem. Now it's decision time. Just that little bit of a bump that he wanted over on the far right side, but fortunately does not pocket the 12 ball. Brian does have a clean shot at it. I'm looking at that 2 ball somewhere up table. Choose his side now. not bump that in a positive direction for himself, as now he has left himself a combo and a off angle combo. That was not an easy shot there. If Jesse chooses to go ahead and take the tougher shot on that 5, since that 3 ball is a little bit on the inside, we'll go ahead and take the easier shot just to get out of this rack and go ahead to the next one. Who comes up short on that one? Ryan with the right stroke here. Leave that cue ball almost anywhere that he wants to. He's a little bit of distance, but does leave a slight angle. It's not going to be super easy to get back into the rack, but drive that into the rail, might be able to go into the middle of it. Does just that, but unfortunately doesn't come out great. Probably see if he pushes that 7 ball back into, tries to push it back into the rack. He's kind of firing the other way. Got a good defense opportunity here with, even with that 14. Let that thing go up table. That cue ball can go right back into the middle, close to that 2 ball. Looking more at 7. Oh, bad hit. That's going to be -1. There's no ball in hand, so hopefully he doesn't pick that up. Everything stays exactly where you see it right now.
You didn't scratch, so.
Re-rails that the 7 ball in. Lined up for the next shot. Gets himself into a bit of trouble there, so he's gonna have to just trim the edge as light as he can. That cue ball on the far side, over here on the right. Use it towards the back. That's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Jesse can decide if he wants to lightly trim the edge and that cue ball up table, but he's gonna have to hit it as light as possible. You don't want something blowing out the side. 4 ball comes rattling out, but he's left a very long shot for Brian up there. Good lead. Is a combo if we look overhead here. Just gonna go ahead and take that 6 ball up table, bobbles the pocket a bit. He looks down at it. He does have a 2 ball lined up for that corner. No problem at all. Doesn't exactly get the action on that cue ball that he would like. Gonna try a carom shot here off the 8, misses the edge of it.
Oh, you were thinking?
I'll go up, not sure why it went back down. I thought that was a legal hit. That may have been a mistake in there on that point.
I've seen here, that's also. Okay. 'Cause, 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 'cause,
Could have even been a double hit. Not sure why he subtracted the 1 point there. A little bit of an error there, and Brian comes back to the table with an open 8-ball, and that opens up a few shots for him. He wants to lay this next shot, leave that cue ball back on that back rail. Bounces it up pretty high. Still has a 10 ball over in the side. Looking down table at the combo. Jesse not looking at anything super easy here. Let's go ahead and just send that cue ball up table, leave Ryan with a long shot down table, and it's been working for him at this point. I'm getting a little bit wild as he has an opening for a number of shots here. A little bit of draw on that one, just kind of walk that up table a bit. We'll go ahead and take that 13 next. If he likes the 9, one he's looking at now. Ran a great job opening up the rest of the table. Close but miss on a 3 ball. Pretty good after that. In that lead out, 93 to 68. It's pretty significant when you get into the second half of the game. Once again, a little bit of a decision time here is that 3 ball goes, but where are you going to leave the cue ball? Draws that back. Got to make sure that he gets past the rack, and he does. To get as big of a bounce off the back rail that he wanted to. 15 ball stays back there in the back. Really good attempt there. Unfortunately, scratches on that one. So now that ball, if I'm not mistaken, that ball comes back out of the rack. Should go in the front. There we go. If that ball comes back up and loses a point, so as good of a shot as it was, it actually cost him both of those. Just he's going to take that ball behind the head string, and it's his break. Last ball in the pack. So a lot of times, and there again, it's such a heavy variance on how different people shoot the break on this. A lot of times it's the fourth ball back, and all the way to the very last ball. Left a little bit of distance on that cue ball. Looks like he's a little bit tied up there. Time ball can have a pocket, but even if you make that, you know, what's to be left after it? Checking out that 7 ball to see if it has an open pocket, and it's close, but not quite. Brian taking a good look at that 1 ball, and the biggest thing he's going to want there is going to break a little bit more out. Misses the shot, unfortunately. Rack separates out just a hair more. Going into that pack of balls, but didn't really get anything to open up well. A little bit of a tough cut on the 11. Somehow or other, that cue ball sneaks its way through that 4 and 8 ball. It's all the way up table. Other than that 8 ball, but this is one that Brian really needs to make. So that congestion out of there does exactly that. Right, loosening up a little bit more. Touches that point, unfortunately for him. This is back to the table. Now he's got an open 5 ball. At 11 may be open. He's got a side pocket shot too, and that's the one he's lining up for. Decision to be made that 14 or 9 ball both can go, and tough deciding on which direction you want to go to. Makes a good choice, leaves it open. Guess he's off and running again. $14 looks like the shot. Let's go ahead and shoot that 2 ball. Undercuts that a little bit. Brian has some chances here. Probably already decided which one he likes to leave on the table. 4-ball looks like a really good candidate. Undercuts that one, or overcuts, excuse me. Jesse can decide what he wants to leave out here, and from my uneducated guess, at 4 and 14, the pink one that we see towards the right and the green stripe that you see right by the cue ball, either one of those two would be great candidates to be able to leave on the table. You can get the right leave on it. Oh, bobbles that last shot. The next one was going to be almost a hanger for him, and even the leave was going to be looking pretty nice. And he's going to pick up the last two. Let's see where he leaves that cue ball, because he actually wants to leave a little right of center if he can. It's a little bit straight, and that's still okay. He's left an angle that's actually going to take it back into the rack over there. That 14 ball is definitely out of the way of where the rack's going to go to. Plan on that being his next shot. While we're waiting for them to finish this one out, if you didn't already plan on joining, go ahead and throw this up there. Winter 8-ball shootout is going to be at Mikey's place this coming weekend. Clear that out of the way. Hopefully, many people as possible will be able to join us. We're actually going to be taking some cameras on the road and live streaming it. If by the unfortunate chance you're not able to make it out there, hopefully you'll be able to tune in and watch it. That tournament is the first one for one of our sponsors, the Classic Billiard Outfitters. Making some pretty nice apparel. Really good looking apparel too. Local to our Tampa area. And I'll even say since they're helping us out on occasions, that they're also fans of Billiard Livestream. Of course, we love them. This will be the first tournament they're put on, although the people that are running it have definitely put on plenty of tournaments before, so nothing new there. Expect a full field to come out of that one. It's a nice shot by Brian. Oh, I gotta fix the scoreboard over here because that doesn't look good. Apparently, we crossed that 100 mark. We've gone a little bit too far. There we go. So Jesse's the first one to the 100 mark, puts him about 2/3 of the way through. Drilling these shots in like they're just everything's a hanger. A bit of a mistake there. It's not a shot that Jesse Deltoro typically misses. And comes back to the table. 106 to 80. So a little ground that he needs to make up here. Brian's been shooting relatively decent himself, and I know he's looking at that 8-ball now, but I'm sure he'll change his mind. That 8-ball that's the one he wants to leave. Fortunately, that decision makes him miss a little bit more difficult 10-ball that's down there. He's making a great shot on that 2-ball. Break out what he can from the back of this and see how got a little bit of a combo. He's right at the edge of the pocket. That's gonna be a couple of points I believe Brian's gonna pick up. Jesse's sending the cue ball up table, but there is a ball up there waiting for Brian to take care of, and it's that 1-ball. Get him a lot of places on this table and throw that one forward a little bit, get himself a better shot on that 9-ball. And get some of those other balls out of there. Jams one up a little. Still leaves himself a shot, so pretty decent roll. Jars the pocket. See if that 5-ball has a pocket down here. It's close. Or if it can quite sneak itself in. Go take a good look at it here and see whether he prefers to try that 5-ball in this bottom right corner pocket or the 15. Looks like he's chosen the 15. looks of it, 6 will go. Little top English will create a couple of extra shots. Just doesn't want to hit that too hard because you don't want to push anything else that rail with that 12 and 5 ball sitting over there. Try out the bank instead. That was a tough angle he just chose on 14. We know that the only ball that goes from that angle into a side pocket is the cue ball. So we've all done it at some point in time. I need to see him hit a stop shot on this one and shoot the 10 ball afterwards. Okay, good. So that one come back up. He may choose. I'd leave that 10 ball right where it is right now and go ahead and play up table for that 14. Looks like he's turning to head that direction. Play that 3 ball next. Leave that 10 ball right where it is. And then wants to draw that one over, probably even about half table, if not further. I believe he caught the rail first a little on the heavy side. See if Jesse decides to go ahead and play that 3 or take the easier shot on the 10. Looks like he's looking at the 10, but you can be rest assured that he's trying to decide if there's a good way to leave himself on that 3 ball without having to leave it for a draw shot going back into the rack. Has to go ahead and take that tougher shot on the 3 ball. I like that shot. Like for the cue ball to have come out a little further, but he's on to the next rack and probably not too upset about that. Brian got a little opportunity to make up some ground here. Nice cut on that eyeball. Go to go right in the middle of that rack. Go ahead and go up table and shoot the 6. See what kind of position he gets after that. There's the pocket and get the results that he wants out of it. Jesse's back up the table. 14, I'm sure, is going to look a little tempting to go back up table. Peek over that 5 ball. Going to want to find a little bit of an angle to make sure that one didn't draw back quite as far as he wanted. Now, playing that 13 into the corner, it's going to send that up a little bit high. This is the shot. Brian's got an opportunity. He plays that 2 ball, a little bit of draw back into that little cluster over there. This is tough. Once again, division time. Bank that 8 and send it up to the left side of the pocket all the way up table. Not necessarily trying to make the 8. Put that on the back rail somewhere behind the rest of the pile. Let Jesse shoot all the way down table. Sends that up a little too high. I believe Jesse's going to have a shot here. Rotate around enough. That 1 ball looks like it goes. If it doesn't, that 9 ball does. Doing up on that 1, so it must have heading through there, and sure enough. I believe that's going to be the 8 ball next and run that one around table. The problem is it looks like both 11 and 9 are sitting within the rack. So he's talking about that now. So he's going to want an angle. That actually might not be a bad shot, just missing that one. Now Brian's going to want to find an angle to not only move both of those 2 balls, getting position. He did a really good job there because he can both play the 1, or excuse me, play the 9, bump the 11 and get above the 11. Comes off a little straight into it. A little bit of draw probably would have done some good there. We may see the next shot being more of a defensive, even if he decides to go ahead and put that in the side pocket. Be playing a defense after that. Go ahead and call it all the way up table and see that cue ball head towards the back. Brian comes back with an angle to be able to go right into the middle of the back of that, little behind the back action. Draws that one over a little bit far. And a scratch. That ball will come back up, become the head ball. And we will call that a defense. It's somewhere between the third and fourth ball back. The last couple of times he's hit that bottom ball, hit the cue ball back up table. And that's been working out well for him. This one, he's left a little bit straight for Brian and thinks that one with no problem. Looks like he's got a one ball shot. Nice job sinking that pinball over there on the side. Combo. Great shot as well. Now I think we're back to a bank shot. Little short on that one. Of course, it's hitting that second rail at that angle, considering the draw that he put on it. Straightens it right back out, so it doesn't find a pocket. He creating some room. Let that slow down, not get to the rail. Exactly what it does. Draw. Let's see if he leaves some room for that 14 to be next. Doesn't want that to roll up too far, and did exactly that. Right behind that 6 ball. Draw and head that straight up towards the chalk we see at the very top rail up there. Skim the edge of the 6 ball. It's a little close to that 8 ball. Leaves Brian about a straight in shot. Brian Brian doing a good job rolling that forward, leaving himself a 4 in this bottom left corner. Out straight in. He can actually just run a little bit past that. He cheats it a little bit, might even touch the 14. Cheats a little too much. Looks like that 15 does have a pocket. Tell if he's trapped behind the edge of the 4, but he's standing over on that side, so must be pretty open. Little bit heavy.
I'm not used to the diamonds.
Jesse's decision, obviously, like the previous, at where he wants to leave the cue ball after this shot. So he's got the option of either leaving the 7 or the 2. Wants to get a little above that cue ball if he can. Gets a little bit far. Next one's going to be a little bit more difficult to run into. I think Brian's going to take a quick break here and we'll be right back. Little off angle for Jesse here on the break, so can hit this one and maybe come around for the back of the rack. Little hope and praying something will come out and get lucky, but he's gotta be a little careful on this one. And he gets part of it except for making the 2-ball. Didn't really leave a super easy shot for Brian come back to the table, so Brian might be looking at a defense himself. Has to go ahead and try to cut it. Now he's left the cue ball up where a whole lot of balls are makeable, and Jesse doesn't need too many more. Got 22 to go. 21. No, I won't count the whole time, I promise. He knows cutting that 11 ball is gonna end it up a little bit. Jars the pocket a little bit, kicks it right back out. Brian comes back. This track's reasonably open for him to be able to make a bit of a run. Seems like he's pretty far back, but about 28 points, 27 points or so. But you get on a big run and 14-1, you can make that last for a while. Gotta be careful. Sends at the back of the rail and be a little hard to get the next one. So he's gonna try for that 7 ball. Whoever cuts it a bit. Guess he's got an open shot. Like even that 6 ball is open, which would be really good for him because he can go back and forth across the lower side of the table. Charged the pocket up there himself. A little bit of a mistake on his part. Brian gets a second opportunity here. Undercuts that one pretty badly. I believe Jesse's going to stay on this lower end of the table and get a couple balls cleared out down here. Go ahead and run into that 8 ball, line himself up for the next one. Exactly that, and a great job at it. Don't believe he's going to want to pick off that 4 ball considering where it's sitting. Now, he might be forced to. Has to go ahead and try to leave that 10 ball where it is. Scratch, that one will come back up. Leave that at the head ball. Also be -1. That 10 ball is still going to stay on the table whenever all this is over with. That 13 ball will be the next one he's aiming for. He wants to get above that 10 ball if possible, and he's got an angle to do it. A little bit of inside, and see that chalk over on the... Ooh, he kind of goes to the left-hand side of the table. Don't know that he wanted to be on that side, but that's okay. Still the one that gets to shoot the next ball in. The big name of this game is to be able to continually control the table.
I know one of my Facebook friends. Like where they want to do it. Let's get it started because most people.
As he splits that one wide open. This has the potential of being able to finish this one off. And that cue ball around very nicely. If he decides to go ahead and use that 1 ball next after this 10 ball. He's cueing a little high on that. Nudge, and I can't tell if that... Look overhead. It doesn't look like that 11 will go. Still got opportunities on the other side of the table. If I'm not mistaken, so the scoreboard back there at the The bottom where it's actually for the right still says 8-4, so that's actually for the previous game. I believe all 14 on this one will finish this game off exactly the 150 mark. This is looking more than possible. Makeable shot here, and if he's watching the score, he'll go ahead and shoot that 4-ball in. I believe that's the last point that he needs. So where if that 14 was to stay on that hit spot, wouldn't make a difference. Dribbles its way on in. Gets a shot and just got informed that that's going to be match as he's left a straight in shot for the ball he doesn't have to shoot. All right, it's 150 for Jesse Deltoro, 106 for Brian Kriger. That's the end of this match. And obviously, as always, we really appreciate everyone always tuning in. Thank you for the support. Just running that one on up. And if not before, we actually have a big match coming up on Friday with two of some of my favorite players out there, Mr. Casey Grove, who's been out here a few times and shooting absolutely lights out, and a first-timer here to Buried Livestream. It's going to be Mr. Mark Watham, a phenomenal shot. Been watching him for years, and seeing the two of them come out here is a little humbling to myself, because that's going to be one hell of a damn match. So hopefully you'll tune in, and we will see everyone at that point in time.
In 14-1 for them. Ones that I've watched don't, because you lose control of the cue ball. That's why people don't.